So okay, this is next section, and in this section we have already done the HA portion over here. Okay, so the switches are running in high availability. You have already a cross connection. So for firewall, the default gateway is the HSRP, the virtual IP, which is .254. Okay, and we had set this as a default gateway in the last section. Okay, so sure, it wasn't typed. So .254 is the default gateway, and .254 is actually the virtual IP for HSRP, which is in the outside segment. So high availability is taken care in this segment, and from there is a default gateway which routes you towards internet. Okay, so we are not bothered about that. Now our area of interest is configuring the failover right here between FTD1 and FTD2. Okay, so let's get back to the FMC console and do this. So just a small test. It's your outside segment is taken care and is pingable. Okay, now we are doing high availability for these firewalls here. So you get back to device management, the list, click on add high availability, give a name Edge FTD HA, and select the device type. It's of FTD appliance, and the first peer from now this will be the list of devices what you have registered with FMC. In our case it's FTD1 and FTD2. The requirement, there is a guide, probably I'll try to cover it in another section, but what you need to know is the connections should be same. That is one of the requirement. They should be same connections going to same VLANs, or should be trunked. Okay, same settings for the interfaces. That's one. The cabling should be same. Another requirement is in terms of licensing, which is really important. You need the licensing on both the devices, FTD1 also, FTD2 also. Let's say on FTD1, if you are using for example, if you are using TAM license, and on FTD1 you are using TAM license, and FTD1 is going to be primary and active, and FTD2 you are using TA and C license, which is going to be secondary, right? In that case, whatever licensing is with primary, the same licensing is put on secondary. It's automatic. Smart licensing takes care of it. So it will go to your account, and from your account it will pull the licenses which are free and give it to secondary. So the licensing will be taken care by your smart licensing. It will make sure you have the same licensing. If it is not, it will show you that the systems are out of compliance, the licenses are not available, you might have to purchase. Okay, so as a part of that, just click on licenses from primary peer will be converted for their high availability version and applied in both the peers. Okay, so you click on continue here, segment. Okay, now the link, we're going to use interface 4 for high availability, and we are going to use interface, you can use interface 4 for both failover and stateful failover. Okay,
it's interface 5 and 6, right?
Yeah, 5 and 6 in the diagram, which are 4 and 5 in the firewall. I actually begin and label the interfaces from G1/1. Okay, I will readdress, edit the diagram. Should have been from G00 and so on. Here, okay, but I labeled it from G11 and so on. No worries. So you're using one of the interface only for failover, another interface only for stateful failover, which is synchronizing your configurations. So you can use both, same interface for both of them. Okay, in that case you select this option. In our case we are using two separate links, so in that case you select interface number 5. Done.
Configuration.
Yeah, so one link is just for failover and another link is for synchronizing your configurations from active to standby. Okay, all your state connection tables and all those things. Okay,
but we can use both of them as the same.
Same link.
one is just for
Same link.
failover, another one is for synchronizing your configurations.
We should dedicatedly do this.
Yeah, so for both of them you can use single link or you can use dedicated links. We are using dedicated links. Okay, I'll show you the designs. Logical name I'll give you here. See, the name itself suggests, right? State link. It exchanges the state of the devices. IP address as per our diagram should be 172.31.1 and 172.31 172.31.1. Subnet is same but the mask is different, /30. Now this version is CCNA stuff. You should be familiar with this. Conversion of /30, it will come to how much? 252. Okay, so .1, .2, .5, .6. Okay, let's go and do this. So 172.31 1.1, right? Okay, you have to write it here. 31.1 172.31.1.2, and here in this side 172.31.1.5 for active or primary, 172.31.1.6 for secondary. Let me cross check it, we shouldn't make any mistake. 1 2 5 6 31.1. Okay, and finally the subnet mask 255 255 255 252. If this whole communication, okay, which means the data which is going to go over failover link and the data which is going to go over stateful state link, if you want that to be encrypted you have to use this. Yeah, and give a key. Okay, this is the same failover key which we used to give it from command line. Okay, so I'm just ignoring this and we just click on add over here. Let's check if something is. So now this will check, and if there is any mistake it will point out. We might have to correct it. So I wait for this to come up and then we'll resume. Okay, fine, this is good. So click OK. So there wasn't any mistake and they are in the same. So this is the high availability group we created, remember? Edge FTD HA, remember? Okay. Now let it come up, it will take some time and you can monitor what is happening over here. Task. So it will go to primary, from primary it will sync to secondary, and please just take care of the IP addresses.
It says about URL faulting the thing.
Don't worry about that. There is a separate policy what you can create on FMC called health policy.
What it will do?
It will monitor all your licenses, interfaces, time synchronizations, and all those things. That portion is a different one. I'll cover it later. So I'm just. So let this.
The data, right?
Sorry.
We will sync the configuration to them.
Yeah. It will once FTD1 is up, good, running. So you can see already primary, secondary. Once FTD1 is complete, it will then shift or sync the configuration to FTD2. Okay. So probably I'll leave it like this. Let it record the different changes going through here in the console. High availability. See, configuration in progress on secondary device. Okay. Because it will finally show you only the successful status, not what happened during that particular deployment. Okay. So it's initializing, downloading of the packages.
So putting in configuring one device is okay, right? So it will automatically get copied to the other one.
FTD, how many maximum interfaces for FTD?
Maximum, it's a data sheet question, check. Look for virtual FTD on ESXi.
But actually, it is not required, right? For dedicated interface because there is no heavy traffic.
Dedicated means?
Dedicated interface for HA, one for Failover, one for State.
Required, definitely.
Every time it is going to sync, right? That's it.
What if it fails? It depends on the amount of traffic that your firewall is handling. If it is less and the data what your firewall has to sync is less, you can use one. If it is more, give dedicated links. Because if that doesn't happen, the data doesn't get synced, the state of all those tables doesn't get synced, you are in trouble. There's no point of HA. HA, when you're putting them in high availability for end customer, okay, for your users, it should be completely transparent. They shouldn't come to know that there's a failover at network level. If that happens, there's no point. That's as good as replace and put another one. So I'll just pause this and we'll come back and look at this. Okay, it's more or less done. Okay, so this is not. Okay, yeah, so now both are inactive because
it will not pass the traffic.
No, it's because of the link. So what I'll go and do is
You shut one.
no, it's actually because of the link. So this is where you force break this. The problem is with the interface of the secondary one, we did not check that, so probably those are disabled, and that's okay. So we'll just check those interfaces which are faulty here, okay, and then we'll complete this. Okay, so it has reached to a state where primary, active. Okay, now this is because of the interfaces. Let's troubleshoot this portion. Now here okay, let's look at this portion here. I suspect something wrong. 71, 72 is up. FTD 2, right? I don't see any problem over here. If not, then rely on the documents. So here is the problem. The interfaces are not connected. There's no point of. Okay, and we go back to our machine. So there was a problem with the interface. We did not check one of the physical interfaces was down. It's not updated actually. We have I've already break the pair. Let this update and then I'll. Yeah, I've already done that.
Is it necessary to break?
The failover link through which they become active standby. One place it was already down.
No, here.
The failover link, one of the failover link, the VLAN 71, one place it wasn't connected. So that's the reason both of them went to the active state. So we got to do this again. High availability, we got to do it again. FTD.
Is that okay?
No, it depends. If you have received it, one of the interface was down, so I unfortunately had to break and do it again. You check on your end. There are some pending task deployment on clear. Okay, let it complete. Okay, there are some deployments going on. Let this complete. I'll come back and I'll resume this when this is done. Okay. Yeah, that's all you need to do. It should be completed. I'll resume it again. Okay, so it's up here. It's up and connected. It's in active standby. The error is because of there's no traffic. So if you see the errors, it's because no traffic is being received. Okay, on the interfaces. Otherwise, it's good. So what do we do now? Next is okay. What you need to know is this control over here is to break it from HA pair. This is to switch active to standby, standby to active.
So
we used to have we have a command on ASA. We do it through that command, but because we do not give you CLI access for configuring that, you have to do it from here. So you need to know. Okay, so and another thing is anything for this group. Okay, so we had the monitor interface commands on ASA for monitoring the interfaces for failover and so on. Those you will find it here. So it is not completed at this moment. You further need to come here and configure it. So what you need to configure is those monitor interfaces. You got to configure them here. Okay, and the links, they used to have active and standby IP addresses, right? So that is not there. You need to configure it here. So if you look at this table, if you look at this table, it shows only active IP addresses. There are no standby. Okay, there are only active IPs, there are no standby IPs. So what you need to do is you need to go and click over here to edit, and if you want to enable monitoring, which is not enabled for these interfaces, you got to come here, click on this. Let's start doing it from, just give me a minute. Do you see inside? Okay, it's here. So let's start doing from these. So let's do it for inside one here, this interface here. Okay, so click on this. This is where you select whether you want to monitor the interface or not, and this is where you give the standby IP. So I'll use .253 25.178.253. This IP goes to standby device. Okay, done. Then do similar thing for trust interface as well. Select here, enable the monitoring of this interface, and 172.25.78.253. okay, then do it for DMZ interfaces as well. Enable monitoring 10.150.1.253. okay, and for redundant one, which is outside, monitoring is enabled, but I give the IP, so 192.168.112.11. and finally your public DMZ interface, enable the monitoring of this interface, and 10.151.1.253. click OK. And so all those like statistics, how much of the data and all those things, you will find it here. We were not using any encryption, that's why it's disabled. And these are your failover triggered timers. Okay, failure limit, failure of one interface, any one interface which you are monitoring, which means you are literally monitoring all the interfaces, it will get into a failover. For interface there will be a polling time and there will be a hold on time before doing a failover from active to standby. Okay, so you can click here and modify the timers from here. Alright, so finally I save this, which should be deployed. Okay, so it's okay, so this is the active one right now. Okay, the routing information, you're not running it on interfaces. The filtering part, you do it here. I'll do it in some other section. What we had done from the command line, right? The filter list, prefix list, then adding it into the routing process using the not advertise command and all those things. Okay, so we are good. 4 and 5 are for
inline sets?
You can pair the interfaces of your firewall, only doing IPs. Okay, this will be used when your firewall is typically in transparent mode. Okay, so status is good, confirm, active, standby. I don't see any failover history right now. Okay, so this is whatever was done in the backend. Okay, so all we got to do is we got to send. Okay, so all we got to do is we got to deploy this particular change what we have done here. So just click deploy, and now it goes to HA1, doesn't go to individual device. Okay, so you send it here, and we have just modified the device configuration, which includes the interface configuration. Okay, so just click on deploy, let it go, finish this up, and then the next section we look at other part like NATing and creating access policies. Okay.